It's a reality breakdown. I thought I would do this before I had a spliff. So you're getting you're getting the full me. And I had a few beers. Damn it! You're not getting the full me. So I was just thinking, right? In this world where we're living, I just thought about the divide between rich and poor, and about what you can buy when you are rich. Basically, my analogy is, when you're super rich, it takes the dreams that you have and the imagination you have, and the only other thing you have then is, if you had money, the only thing that would stop you is a barrier, right? So all the barriers are down. You have no barriers, because whatever needs to be done can be done by all the people that, through whether it's multi-generational heirism, becoming an heir to someone that made money off whatever, previous slave trades, raping the earth, whatever. Oh, on that quick note there, I won't even go there. Yeah, so basically it doesn't matter where you made your money from. You got to a situation where obscene amounts of wealth could crumble all the barriers, and the barriers originally were not freedom, that's for sure. The barriers originally would have just been the ability to, I was going to say pay for stuff, but originally, even before money existed, the barriers were just energy. Who would do all the work? And if you believe the past theories that places like the pyramids were built from slave labor, those dreams were facilitated by the willingness of the weak and the stupid to work for someone who convinced them that they were a god, right? And the only difference that happened is they increased the population to have more people feeding in their energy, and they tokenized that energy into money. And that money allows you now to be a modern day god. The same as the old days when you had your whatever, King Herod, whatever it might be in the Bible. The same thing has just happened, and it modified itself to be a more efficient version of what you always had, and that is, one can control many to get what they want in life, and that is all their dreams and hopes and desires. And the problem is, you see, in society, is when you often get things too easily. And I learned this in my life quite young. I made a lot of money in property when I was quite young, and I then coined the already coined term, easy come, easy go. You can guess what happened. I lost everything. More than once. So I'm one of those guys that didn't learn a lesson, but I did learn lessons to make money, and I know that I went through stages in life struggling my ass off to make anything, right? And just thinking, why me? Why is it always me? Why is this happening? Blah, blah, blah. And I meet a lot of people. That's why I help a lot of people out. I've got a friend. It doesn't matter. I won't name his name. I've got a few friends, damn, who go through this mode and they think it's all, man, I just got the worst luck. Now, I do believe that I do have a kind of poltergeist thing that follows me around and gives me bad luck. I have to constantly work at being as lucky as I am in life. Well, when you lucky, blessed, whatever you want to call it, right? Doing okay and able to not have to be part of the rat race. And it's because, I've worked out what the secret is. And the secret is not, it's not the secret. It's not about the law of attraction and asking the universe for stuff, although that can be part of it. It's more about working out what you enjoy doing and map it. So I want to mention this. So this video is jumping about here. Let me just explain. It's explaining ends of the spectrum. You have poor people, and then you have very rich people. And the rich people do what they want, but you don't actually have to be that rich to do what you want. You just have to escape out of a mental paradigm that you're in. So a lot of rich people, they have desires, they fill those desires, and the more desires that are filled, the more they want. And I was kind of suffering from this for a short bit myself as well. And now I realised that, well, look at me, I'm at a campsite. It's cheap as chips. It doesn't cost anything. And yeah, I'm still having a great life. And I will jump back and forth. You'll see through my video range that's going to happen, and or look at my other channel, you'll see also. I'll skip back and forth to different places and different lifestyles, and it doesn't really mean anything to me. But those people who are trapped into a certain type of lifestyle, they will always have to maintain something. It's like you know, people who always try to impress their friends or impress people around them. You know, the keep up the Joneses sort of people. Some people have that within themselves. Now, there's an element of positivity from challenging yourself. Like, I want to get up that mountain. I want to surf that big wave, whatever it is. But when you're someone that gives you ridiculous goals, like, I must be seen with a $20,000 watch on. I must be seen with in a Ferrari or something, nothing less than. Rumble, look at this. Fellow dog next door. Rumble's got his own water here. Has to steal his. Anyway, Animal Kingdom shows so much of the human kingdom. So, getting back to my point again. I think I'm rambling. I will be honest. I lost my place. I'm going to say it simply, right? To have a good life, you don't really have to be extremely wealthy, but you do have to have something that's bringing you in wealth, unless you can live proper Bear Grylls style, right? If you can live in the wilderness, forage for your food, and you want to live like that, like under a little shelter and whatever you can forage from the land, and that makes you happy, then you are truly lucky. Especially if you then don't mind spending the energy to become skilled in certain areas that allow you to live like that. Actually, one of the trading channels I watch, Crypto Sniper, he was talking about how privileged he was to have been in the South African army. I escaped that because I didn't want to go. Well, it was more like my dad didn't want me to put me in the South African army because they make you do 2 years in the army during apartheid. I didn't want to do that. And well, at the time anyway. I think it's because what it is he told me it would be so bad. I think I would have handled it all right because I handled high school okay. But yeah, look at this. See, simple tent keeps man and dog son happy. But yeah, so yeah, you like let's say you're at the bottom of the barrel. Your life's not doing too well. Of course, you can't just break. Well, you can just break free depending on what your expectations are. The example I just gave before is that example. The reality is, most people have higher expectations, especially if they haven't done much before, but they've seen things. They've seen people living a certain way. They've seen a guy with a nice car and they're into cars. They won't break the spell of being attracted to those kind of things until they've actually had one decent car and done fucking burnouts, loop-de-loops, and driven all over and had their arm out the window gazing at women and like, hey, what are you doing? How you doing? That kind of thing, right? They're not going to get over to then. A guy who has only been with maybe 2 women in his life won't get over women. Like I'm MGTOW monk mode right now. They won't get over women until they've been with like shitloads of women like I have, you know what I mean? Then you get over it. The spell is broken. I remember when I was younger, I used to hang out for experience. Not hang out for experience, but you know what I mean? Like I would be insecure over my lack of experience, so I'd make experience happen. I would do anything it took to have a threesome or a foursome or whatever the fuck it was, and not the crusty foursome with 2 guys and 2 chicks, a proper one. And then, so I made these things happen, right? And then that's what allowed me to start to look and just see not all that glitters is gold, you know. And now I'm living a life where I tell you right now, I'm happy. I'm not just saying I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm proper happy, right? Because I don't have women. Like I look at pretty much all my friends, not all of them, not the freshly married ones, the ones who've got a kid that's 3 years old or younger, although they're dying because they're looking after the kid all the time, different hours. I'm not talking about you and you and you, but yeah, that's what happens. But yeah, I'm talking about the people who've been married for any time, any period of time. They're just like, oh man, Craig, I envy you so much. Of course they do, because they allowed themselves to get suckered in, especially the ones who are younger, who got suckered in when they were young, like I kind of did when I was younger. Yeah, you quickly learn that you're, as a man, it's a much better life being free. For example, if you ask the average guy who's been married for years what his dreams are, his dreams are probably like, oh, you know, pay off the mortgage and get this, or some of them will be honest and say it's to get the fuck away from her, right? But most of them aren't honest. I've got one who's very, very honest in Slovenia, but I won't mention his name. He's funny as fuck. But yeah, they want to get off and they're like, oh, I'm so envious, man. If I could just live the way you live, right? And it's not that difficult, it's because some of the people who are telling me this, they're in a position where they could actually live the way I live. Because I don't live that great, you know. And the reason I don't live that great is I'm thinking about tomorrow. I'm an investor. You get different types of personality. You get a worker personality, you get an investor personality, you get a trader personality. I used to be the trader and then I became the investor, right? And that is, the investor harnesses the power of delayed gratification. And it's something that I did always have as a kid. I would learn that, if I just hold on to this a little bit longer, it'll be worth more. The delayed gratification test, by the way, when they do with children, is you may have seen this on some of these documentary shows. They have a whole bunch of kids and they put them in a kind of observation area, and they say, right, there's toys over there, there's rabbits over here. By the way, the rabbits, if they don't get fed, they'll die because you need to feed them. Most of the kids completely ignore the rabbit. And then you've got this, it shows empathy, by the way, and then it shows different things that they have around them. And then it also says, oh, here's a sweetie here, but if you get this sweetie now, you can have this now, or you can have two later on. They go, oh yeah, I have one now. The dumbest ones will always go the one now, right? Oh, I am being attacked by mosquitoes. All right, that's why my leg's so itchy. So yeah, what happened was, I was the kind of kid who would be like mindful of there's that animal there, and also, I might hold on to this. I was the kid in Charlie the Chocolate Factory with the everlasting Godstopper, which, okay, I probably would have just ate that because I knew that it lasts forever anyway. I could take it off, wash it, and it still looks the same because I was smarter than him. But if it was just a normal Gobstopper, I would have saved it for later on and got the two Gobstoppers later on. That's kind of how it. My point is, that's the investor mindset. You don't have to take the day, and the amount of friends that I get that tell me, I'll give you the most recent one was the crisis. Oh, crisis! The situation in New Zealand and all over the world. Sorry, COVID-19. But my friends in New Zealand, he got his payout. He was talking about his payout. Oh, these guys that work for me got their money. Oh, it's ridiculous. Why don't you apply for it? Oh, I shouldn't get it. But why you just apply for it? Oh fuck! Oh, they got all this money and then blah blah blah. And he's just moaning. I said, you should buy Bitcoin. That's what you should do. And he goes, no, I can't afford it. I've done this, I've done that. I've got this spare money, but I want to spend it in this. I want to come on a holiday there. Okay, cool. Well, anyway, if you get your extra $7,000 or $4,000, whatever the fuck it is, you should buy Bitcoin. Oh yeah, if I get it, that'd be fucking good. I doubt it. Anyway, he gets his money. Guess what he didn't do? He didn't buy any cryptocurrency. He could have bought Cardano and made 4x like I did. He could have bought, say I was investing, right? Just smart investing. I'm getting better at it all the time. So the more I do it, the less I have to think about it because I'm getting better at doing it. So then I just put like a little bit in here. I'll just put like $1,000 on this coin, and oh shit, it's turned into $5,000. That's what happened with Zilliqa, for example. Damn, should I put this in the Bitcoin Roadshow channel? Should I put this in the other one? Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the Bitcoin Roadshow channel. That's what I'll do, because it's about investment. It's about the world being in different states. So what we actually have right now is a case where you have people who are investors, but they are investors over the period of many lifetimes. meaning that their parents leverage the ancient tool of nepotism to pass on whatever they had to their kids below them, and their ungrateful, snotty kids thereafter, because they just get snottier and snottier and more undeserving as time goes on. This is one thing in the world, is that it would be kind of better if... Here's some of the rules I was thinking of earlier on. One is if you couldn't pass on wealth. I know it sounds like communism, but honestly, it's one of the main factors that stops survival of the fittest. When you have modern medicine, and you have modern abilities, and then you also have globalism, modern ability to travel around and go to different countries, it really does make the playing field unfair. And then you get to a stage where effectively what you have is you have survival of the weakest, because the guy who had a lucky break one day in the past wasn't necessarily a great guy, and now he's passing on his idiot spawn to the world, like Prince Charles, something like that. And a lot of times they were just the most sneaky, so you're passing on the worst traits of human nature. It's like, and that's why people are getting worse, right? People are actually getting worse in some ways, one of the ways to cure this would be to stop inheritance. Not inheritance tax, just completely stop inheritance. So you ask yourself, oh damn, that doesn't sound very good. And I don't like the sound of it either when I first say it to myself. But what it is this: getting people to learn that no matter what you do, you're not building for your next generation. Because a lot of people who build for the next generation, they're actually just disgusting, horrible people anyway. They're so selfish. The only giving they have is to something that they think is themselves living longer. You know what I mean? So they're still inherently selfish. That's what I say. People, they say to me, "Oh, I'm not selfish. I have children." I'm like, yeah, it's an extension of selfishness. Because you're not bringing up someone else's kids, are you? No, you're bringing up your own kids. Because you care about your DNA. My spawn will get out there in the world. Fucking freaks. But that is what more people are like. Except my friend Amit, who actually got a license, that went through all the bullshit after he broke up with his wife to adopt his own kid. He went through all the crap himself. Because it's like, at the end of the day, maybe I don't need a woman to have a kid. Maybe they just get in the way. Maybe they just want to indoctrinate them with stupidity and wrong and groupthink. Anyway, my extended theory on this one is that, on top of not being able to pass on, to force people to think it doesn't matter what billions you have, it's going to die with you. So maybe you're not going to just chase billions. Maybe you're not going to be the Warren Buffett of this world and just chase money, right? Maybe what you'll actually do is say, right, what can I do that is going to bring up mankind? But maybe you won't. Maybe you'll still be a selfish cunt. But then what you'll do is you might stop and say, well, I'm going to probably die soon, so maybe I should start having a life now when I'm 50 or 60, instead of waiting till I'm 90 on my deathbed, like, I want to pass on my thing to my son. I'm just giving the Stephen Hawking's equivalent there of what communication might be like for a 90-year-old. But yeah, they pass it on because they just became a machine. And to all intents and purposes, Warren Buffett just became a machine. He's a money hoarding machine. And if money truly is scarce, like the Federal Reserve and others that print money in this world would like us to believe, which is completely false, then they're complete cunts for keeping everything to themselves, aren't they? It's like, it's all mine, as they call grablash in Slovenia. So maybe they would actually learn to get a life a little bit sooner, no matter what that is. No, but I enjoy making money. And fuck off. You enjoy manipulating a market, because Warren Buffett manipulates markets as well as profits from them. So I don't think so. I think you enjoy being a cunt. There's a big difference in enjoying something and enjoying just the fact that you're a cunt. You're nurturing your cuntiness. Yes, that's right. I've thrown a C word around. Oh, it's my other channel. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I like to shed viewers on the other channel, on the Red Pill Diaries one. But anyway, so this is the thing. So the other thing I was going to say to tax heavily or prevent was resource extraction. If you think about this world, right, you think when they hunt for salmon, they deplete the resources so much that you have to make salmon farms, and then the salmon don't know where they come from, so they swim up any old river, and they go to the river. Well, they don't know the smell of anything, so they go up any old river, and what happens is they've already been fed. So they go up to any old river that they've been fed, right? And what ends up happening is they breed with the salmon up that river and they destroy the stock. So if you never had commercial grade fisheries in the first place, that wouldn't happen, right? You would actually have a situation where you could dip your rod in the sea anywhere in the world and you could pick out a fish pretty easily. So you could either be someone who could feed themselves no problem, or you could be someone who could buy off a friend who went out fishing the other day, or get given by a friend. But what I mean is, get rid of commercial logging. You're still going to build your houses. You're probably going to build them more sustainably. You're still going to feed each other. You're still going to have fish in your lifetime many, many times. You're just not going to have supermarket shelves filled with them. It's this greed, it's this chasing of greed and having to have more that's given everybody less. And the reason why is because if you look on the I'll show you how surplus economy works, right? Surplus economy is where you keep the shelves full in a supermarket, and you keep them full so that someone foraging for mushrooms, as they do in Slovenia, champoniques or something like that. That's the word for. It's close to the word for mushrooms. Champon something. Anyway, let's see again. I was talking about something. Oh, that's right. Okay, so you deplete resources and you get to the stage where this is why we can't just go down to the sea in any country in the world now. There's a few parts of the world, but like there's parts in Japan you can still put your rod in and get fish, but for the most part it's depleted, or else, you know, it's a marine reserve. Like in New Zealand, my brother was fishing the marine reserve. Woo woo! Cops came. He's catching all these fish. What the fuck? It was a marine reserve. What are you doing? Oh, I didn't know it was a marine reserve. Anyway, but the reality is, you could do that anywhere. You could jump off the rocks and catch a lobster anywhere before. Now you can't catch shit because everything has become commercialized, and that commercial nature is not only to drive up profits for a single entity, but in doing so is to give a surplus economy, which means the shelves are filled with 10 times more than they require. Why? So that when you look on the shelves, you see full stuff, because that makes you want to buy. For some reason, when it looks empty and scabby, you don't really want to buy it anymore. Well, I don't really agree. Sorry, that's the marketing call on it. The reason why I don't agree is during COVID-19, the last time, not this one here that's been replayed again, but what they did is they bought all the toilet paper. Now, I didn't see anyone leaving the toilet paper because it was quite empty. Did you? Right. It shows the whole thing's ridiculous. So what I would say is, based upon what I've said today, I don't want to talk for too much longer. It's been 23 minutes. And this will be probably one of the more boring videos I've done, because it has an identity crisis. I don't know if it should go Bitcoin Roadshow because I talked about crypto, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. Or the fact that that it's kind of shining a light on this reality that we live in, and the fact of why rich people have worked out, I'm talking about the super rich, have worked out things the way they have to enable them to knock down all barriers in life, so that they can actually just live a life beyond the levels of even the pharaohs. Because if you think about it, think of how a pharaoh used to live. They didn't have an air conditioning system, did they? They didn't have a jet airplane. They didn't have a G5, G6, whatever. They didn't have a helicopter. They didn't have a super yacht. So rich people today, the top 0.1%, and especially the top 0.01% that own half the world, but the top 0.5% even sorry, the top 0.5% of the world, even they are living beyond what the pharaohs could do back then. Yeah, you might not have a big massive pyramid and stuff like that, but I mean, what did that really do for you? Not very much, right? It was a status symbol. So if you want to get out of that rat race, you need to find out, first of all, what's my level that I need in life. Now, if that level is $100,000, and I could dip out and live on the cheap on a tent and in India somewhere and just going around in some little cheap motor scooter, maybe that's you. Maybe you need 250,000 because you're going to retire in Southeast Asia. You're gonna find the occasional thing. You're gonna put your money squirreled away certain places so it's safe. So if you get ripped off at some stage and you've only been ripped off 20 grand or whatever, there's always ways to. That's another thing. You're gonna protect what you have as well. Cryptocurrency is safe in that respect because it's not really on you. It's on the ether. It's in the blockchain. So you got to work out what you need. Then you got to work out, what can I do? What can I offer? You can't just start life just being a parasite. You've got to come up with something, and that's why I'm against parasitism. So you either want to be one of the people who have some skill to offer. For example, if you were a tattooist, a good artist, you could become a tattooist and tattoo people all over the world, right? You can go anywhere people want it done. Oh, I'll pay $50 for that. Here's my previous work.